Right, thank you for clicking on this video, and today I will be talking about not only what creatine is, but also how it is made, its structure, and what it can do for your muscles and your brain and just your whole body overall. Right, okay, so let's start with what creatine is, and basically the formula of creatine is C4H9N3O2. So you've got carbon in there, you've got hydrogen, you've got nitrogen, and you've got oxygen. I'm pretty sure it's an amino acid, but it is not involved in actual like building of the muscles. I mean, kind of it is, but it isn't part of the muscles. And it kind of is. You'll see what I mean later on, but it's like if you've watched my video on muscle growth and what muscles are, they aren't the actual like actin and myosin. They aren't anything like that. But I'm pretty sure it is an amino acid. Feel free to correct me there. It's definitely made of them or made by them. You'll see in a second. Anyway, I do have to say, I do drink creatine. I've been drinking creatine for about a month and I've known about it for about 2 or 3 years. I drink about 3 to 5 grams every day and I think it is great. I think maybe it's just placebo. I think it's great. I think it's worked wonders. And I highly recommend it to anybody that likes working out or lifting or just feeling healthy in general. I think it's great. So let's take a look at how it is made. So it is made in two ways. Firstly, it is made naturally, which I will talk about first, and secondly, it is made chemically, which I will talk about second. So, naturally, in your body, you have got the liver, kidneys, and pancreas, and in the liver, kidney, and pancreas, you have got these things called amino acids. So you've got the amide, carbon, hydrogen, R group. R group is what makes all amino acids different. If you've watched my video on muscles, then you'll know this. I highly recommend you go and watch it. I very enjoyed making it just as much as I made this one. It also talks about muscles and how they grow. So yeah, back to this video. You've also, so yeah, you got the amino acids in the liver, kidney, and pancreas called arginine, glycine, and methionine. Okay, these amino acids are very important because you've got this enzyme. You got this enzyme called L-arginine glycine, amidinotransferase, also known as AGAT, which is represented by this little circle here. And this produces guanine acetate, also known as GAA, and then this little molecule here, guanidinoacetate methyltransferase, that creates creatine. So that is how creatine is created in the muscles, not the muscles, that is how creatine is created in the body, and then it's transferred to skeletal muscles like your chest, your bicep, any muscle around your chest. But this, you'd have to eat a 2 pound steak, which is a big steak. It's like a big steak. So you'd have to eat a lot of steak or meat to get your daily amount of creatine, which not only would that, you'd be very full, it would be very expensive, and it is not very efficient. So that is why very smart scientists, a lot smarter than me, found a way to synthesize creatine. So you've got methylglycine, curazine, and then you've got cyanine. I do not know how these pronounce. And there is like a reaction vessel there, and this vessel, as you can see here, is kept at very high temperatures and very high pressure, forced in, and if you know chemistry, then you know that that means that it will increase the rate of reaction for this specific reaction, and that creates creatine. So, you've got your creatine. What can creatine do for me? Well, I'm glad you ask, because creatine can go into the muscles, and when muscle contraction happens, goes a lot into, I know I keep on mentioning it, but I go into a lot further detail onto my salon video on muscles and muscle contraction. But in muscle contraction, ATP is involved, which is produced via respiration. So you've got the mitochondria and they produce the ATP. It stands for adenosine triphosphate. So you've got the ribose sugar, the adenine, nitrogenous base, and you've got the 3 inorganic phosphates. So what happens during muscle contraction is you lose one of those inorganic phosphates and chemical energy is released. But to keep that muscle working, you need to add that inorganic phosphate back on, and that is what creatine, simple terms, that is what creatine does. So it allows for quicker replenishing of ATP molecules, which means you've got more energy to use more quickly, which is why creatine is good for high intensity energy. So just quick movements like sprinting or muscle weightlifting and stuff like that. And it is, yeah, so creatine increases the amount of high intensity energy that is available to your muscles and therefore to your body. So yeah, now we've got water. I'd never heard of the ATP stuff. I mean, I obviously heard of ATP, but I never heard of how creatine affected ATP until the research for this video. All I had heard about is how water affects it. So you've probably heard that creatine increases water retention in the muscles and therefore makes them bigger and stronger. And this is true because creatine has osmotic activity, which means that it decreases the water potential of the muscle cells. And because of this, water moves from an area of high water potential to an area of low water potential, which is now your muscles, down the water potential gradient, which means that water moves inside the muscle, increasing water volume and retention in the muscle, and therefore increasing muscle mass and strength. It's also known as water weight, but the water is inside the muscle, which is good because you want the bigger muscle as possible, because the bigger the muscle, the more strength. That's very simple, but that's just how it is. So yeah, the creatine helps replenish energy stores quicker, and it also increases the water of the muscle. Now let's move on to the brain. I did almost forget about this when doing the research for it, but it does the same things that happen in the muscle happen in the brain. So you've got more of the ATP, you've got more of the water. Because of this, it does loads of good things to the brain. Anything good about your brain, it probably increases it. It reduces memory loss, it reduces brain fog, it reduces, I know I should take more creatine because of how much brain fog I'm having right now. But yeah, it increases reaction time, I'm pretty sure. Intelligence, brain activity, everything good about the brain, creatine probably increases it. So yeah, that is why I love creatine, that is why I take creatine, and that is why you should love creatine, and that's why you should take creatine too. This is not sponsored. I just find it really interesting, and I just want to help people and also talk about things that interest me and hopefully they interest you, as was the purpose of this channel. So if you have found this interesting as I have, I did not know a lot of this before today, which is what I love. I love learning new things. And if you have loved learning new things, then please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment if I've got anything wrong, because as I said, I'm down to learn new things. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.